Cheers. Woohoo!
Morning, Amar.
Gosh. Hey, good morning. And we've got a guest on straight away as well, Jeff. Should have really invited them a little bit later, but we are where we are. So Louise Woodall's going to join us. She's supporting ABC as part of the awards, and also is an amazing individual who is helps care homes. So she provides staff to care homes, Jeff. So we're going to hear from Louise, and then we've got a whole range of things to discuss. And we've got a variety of a topic of the week as well. So jam-packed show is what we have for you this morning. So anyway, shall we get let's kick off. So you're listening to Amar and
Jeff.
live on our weekly radio show right here on Spice FM.
And each week we bring some views, news, and one or two clues from the business world.
Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider communities.
And we'll be talking shop quite literally, not just corner shops where they look to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business. We can help.
We can help. Right, let's get Louise on. And let's get the show on the road. So interestingly, I'm hoping that Louise is there. Interestingly, the sun's shining, Jeff.
Yeah, a little bit. The sun is out, but it's been awful weather, hasn't it, Amar?
It is. It has. The sun's certainly shining where Louise is. Good morning, Louise. We can't hear you. So you're connecting to audio. There we go. Are you connecting? Are you there? Hello.
Hi.
Hey, good
Oh
morning,
yeah.
Louise.
Morning.
Hi, Louise.
Hi, you
You
okay?
certainly sat in the sun, aren't you?
I am. I'm currently out and about, so it's the sun's glaring on me.
Good. So it's like a bit of a challenge Annika type of arrangement or challenge Louise. So good morning. Welcome to Spice FM and
Thank you.
our show business, Louise. Jaff, who I don't think you've had the pleasure of meeting, or he hasn't had the pleasure of meeting you.
Yeah, I think that's the right.
Yeah, Jaff is an incredibly close friend, an amazing world-class restaurateur, business owner, and is my co-host here. So we've been hosting this show for a bit too long, I think, but we enjoy it. So that was me introducing Jaff. Louise, let's kick off with you, if we may, please.
Yes.
Let's start with who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Okay, so I'm Louise and I'm the owner of HWI Solutions, which is a care and nursing agency in the Northeast. We supply healthcare, seniors, and nurses to care homes when they've got a shortfall, whether that's for sickness, holidays, if they're needing extra staff because they've got a specific resident that needs additional needs. I've worked in healthcare for over 25 years. I've done a lot of roles within that time. So I have been a healthcare, I have been a registered manager, I have been a director, and then I decided a few years ago to open HWI. And yeah, I do it because I want to deliver passionate and good care to people that deserve it.
No, thank you. Jeff, there's probably not very many Asian people that go into care homes, is there?
I think there is, because you have the Malhotra's, they've got a lot of care homes. Is that not their business?
Yeah.
And along with
I don't mean like as if
as in
Asians
as in
owning
Asian people going into care homes.
I said, yeah, you don't have many Asian. Louise, in your experience, do you? I mean, because you look after a very large number, don't you? As
Yeah.
in,
No, I don't. I agree with you with you, Umar. I don't think that is a lot because I find that Asian tradition is to keep their families at home.
Yeah, the extended family situation, I think it's still prevalent. I think maybe they may in some other regions, slowly they may be creeping towards that, but I think the numbers will be very slim at this stage.
I wonder if there's one of two things. I think you're right. Traditionally, it is a cultural thing. So looking after your parents because they've looked after you, and rightly so. Um, but I just wonder if both from a parental perspective and a child perspective, whether if there was right a dedicated care home. I appreciate we're getting a bit distracted here, but it's great to have someone like you on the show, Louise, to be able to unpick some of these type of thoughts and conversations. But I
Yep.
wonder, Jeff, um, if a care home dedicated to Asians or ethnics or minority or and certainly then breaking it down to South Asian, where all of the entertainment, where all of the food, where all of the support. As you get older, yeah, of course, there's you love engaging with young people and they run you ragged and everything else, but you probably want to be in your peer group, aren't you, Louise? As in, what's good about being in a care home? Talk us through what a care home does and why people go in it and things like that.
I think because a lot of people will go into care homes if they haven't got the support in their own homes. Um,
Right.
so I've worked with care homes, but I also used to work and deliver care into people's own homes. Um, so a lot of people do it because they don't have a network of support, so that they go into a care home because they've got people around them. And getting old can be lonely. So, you can go and you can be sitting in the dining room and there'll be entertainment on for you. People will be playing bingo, which, people love to do. Um, they've also always got on hand somebody if they need medication, because if they're in a nursing home, there will be a nurse on shift. So if there's any needs around that side of it, they they will have that in a care home. As to, if you're at home and you're feeling under the weather, you've got to ring a GP. You've got to then wait for the GP to get back to you to then come out, whether and assess you. Um, so for me, there's a lot of factors, and as you get old, it can become a lonely place. Whereas a care home isn't that, because they make it, and some care homes make it as if it's your own home. So you've got your own room, you have it set up as you like it, but they make it as homely and as comfortable for you.
That's nice. And I suppose that's what you really want, don't you,
Yeah,
from a comfort perspective.
yeah.
Um,
But also from
so
a family point of view, as if you've got a mother who you don't live near, so if you live in London and your mother's in Newcastle and they need
yeah,
that additional support, knowing that they're looked after in a care home and they're in a good care home that are accommodating the needs of your mother, then that also gives the family peace of mind.
yeah. And I think peace of mind's key, isn't it? And
Yeah.
that's probably, going back to that um, Asian culture. It's that peace of mind that there's somebody on hand. But as there is a general and broader reduction in the number of children, so families across all cultures, across all areas in the UK are having less kids every year, right? So that then means that there's less grandkids, there's less, sort of the level of support that everyone would live in a house.
hmm
Jeff, there's more and more, traditionally everyone, all members of the family would live in the same house, but they no longer do they?
I think I think the family unit, from what I can see, is still close. But I think the difference is, people do want their own space. So you might have a home which is the hub where other siblings come to, but but everyone do like their own space these days. So I think that's changed a bit, instead of everyone being cramped in one house, which was probably how it was a few years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, gosh, there was like, there was just like the cars. Everyone piled into the
Yeah,
cars, didn't they? And
yeah,
it wasn't an exclusively Asian trait, as in, I remember like everyone just, there was 4 or 5 people in the back of a car. Oh, well, just jump
yeah,
in. It wasn't illegal to
yeah,
have like more than whatever it was. So
yeah. I think
uh,
thing
society's
was
changed.
there wasn't a restriction, was there, on how many people could sit in the back of a car? So
But it was uncomfortable though, is what it was. I remember, and as the like the smallest kid, you'd always be in the footwell or whatever it was, or sat on top of somebody else, or in the boot. The boot was exciting because it was an estate. Obviously, it wasn't a. It'd be funny if you were slugged. Anyway, Louise,
Yes.
so it's yeah, and I appreciate that we've been talking quite extensively, so I know the difference that and you haven't mentioned the name of the company, so it's HWI Solutions.
HWI Solutions, yes.
Yeah. So it's National Inclusion Week,
Yep.
and and just talk us through, Louise, your organization. You've got lots of different people from lots of different places. What
Yep.
value does that bring?
Um, for us, we're very diverse. So we do have a range of care workers, a range of nurses. Um, we also have in our office team, we have very diverse management that have been in the industry for a long time as well. So we bring experience of, we understand each role in a care home because we've actually done them. And that for me is something that's really important because I know what it's like to be a manager under pressure because I've been there. Then my team, I've got Sarah, who has been a deputy manager in the care industry for a long, long time. She understands it. She also knows the safeguarding processes, and she's very thorough in that respect. And we understand the pressure that the care homes go through. We also have staff that we take through a thorough recruitment process because we expect our staff not to need their hand held when they go on their first shift, but actually that they hit the ground running, because if someone's using agency, they're using it because there's a need and not because there's a want. So what they don't need in a care home is a member of staff coming and sitting on the phone and not knowing what to do on that shift. They need someone to go in and really, really hit the ground running and just to 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 blend in and not to be, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And for us is our recruitment processes, and we always ensure that people have got the right requirements to work in the UK. So they've got to have had experience of working in the healthcare setting in the UK. We also have a very diverse group of workers as well from all different backgrounds. Yeah, so for us, we do have a very diverse and an equal team, to be honest.
Brilliant. And it's nice. And I think that diversity is incredibly important because it brings different perspectives. Care homes generally, Louise, have um, a range of people from different
Yeah.
backgrounds and things like that. But
Mhm.
actually, lots of people have sometimes entrenched views, and diversity, connecting, building relationships, breaking down barriers. I think it's
Yeah.
an ideal space in place, isn't it, to learn more, especially when you've got international nurses and people from different countries and different cultures and things like that. Anyway, you're supporting the ABC Inclusion by Default campaign and the
Yeah.
awards. Why, Louise?
Just because I think it's, inclusion's really, really important, and especially in our sector. Um, you've got to, it just, for me, it's a good opportunity to showcase what we are very inclusive, and, and I think that's why I wanted to do that.
Thank you. And if someone wants to find out a little bit more about you, what you do,
Yeah.
have a conversation
Yeah.
around, care needs, I'd like to know which care home I should be thinking about, when I get older, because the kids aren't going to look after me. I wouldn't want to look after me, but so I'd be interested in that. But also, if I had care homes, Louise, because what are the biggest pains that sort of care home providers generally have? It's staffing, right?
Yeah, so staffing. So we try and we bridge that gap. So if someone phones in sick, and your own staff kind of cover that shift, or if someone's on holiday and again the staffing levels are not there, we don't just supply healthcares either. We've got chefs. So HWI are trying to ensure that we can supply every entity for a care home. So that might be a handyman, it might be a domestic, it could be a chef, a kitchen assistant, a registered manager, a admin. So we can look at all of that for everybody. I mean, we mainly do supply on the temporary side of our healthcares, or seniors and our nurses. But my vision is that we supply every entity to a care home that is needed.
Excellent. And and how does someone reach you if they want to have a chat?
So we've got our website, which is www.hwisolutions.co.uk. On there, we've got all of our telephone numbers and how to contact us. And we are currently going to be changing our website, but it's still there at the moment if anybody wants to reach us.
Wonderful. Anything else that you'd like to say or share with millions of people all over the world?
Oh, goodness. No, I just think, we're just trying to make a difference in how care's delivered. And for me, I think good quality care should be delivered at every standard. And yeah, for me, that's my vision, that HWI delivers excellent quality care.
Brilliant. Well done. And I know that you do. And
You do.
I'm probably going to experience it at some point in my life. I think maybe, who
Yeah.
knows if I get that far. But anyway, on that sombering thought, thank you ever so much for your support for ABC, for the Inclusion by Default campaign, Louise, and HWI Solutions. And look forward to hearing more about your transformative journey where you're making a difference, not just for care homes, but for people within the care homes as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right,
Louise.
take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
And there we have it. That was Louise. It's nice to get people on who are authentic and genuine, Jaff. It's just,
Yeah,
you get that aura from people, don't you?
yeah, of course. And they're doing such an important job as well, for society. So it's always nice to hear how they do it.
Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is. Anyway, it is Inclusion Week this week, National Inclusion Week. I just feel as if these type of things, why should you have a dedicated day? Why shouldn't you just be inclusive all of the time, Jeff?
Well, of course, that's just should be a norm, shouldn't it?
Mm. Anyway, let's have a look at what's been going on. The Prime Minister secures 10 billion deal for AI data center in the Northeast, Jeff.
Mm.
What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think AI worries me. So
Why?
just does. It's just because of the consequences of making computers smarter than human beings. And
Mm,
I think at some point, I think it's dangerous because there'll always be malfunctions.
yeah.
Something's going to go wrong. And if you imagine you've got electric vehicles and there's a malfunction of it, imagine what can happen. Imagine if someone decides to put in what they did with the pages in an electric um, vehicle. And I, I just think that technology, as amazing as it is, but I think there's a lot of flaws in it as well.
Yeah, I agree. But those flaws are human, right? Because at the minute, it's almost it's all dependent upon everything that humans have done. I think the power of it is really exciting. I think it's really interesting. I use it day in, day out, and it's it's good. It's a useful utility, is what it is, and um, regardless of anything anyone is doing anywhere, you could probably do away with me now, Jeff. You don't need to talk to me. You can just put it in the
Well,
into the chat. Thanks.
well, that's
Glad
the
to look
that's
off
the
me.
worry, isn't it? That's the whole thing. The you know how
That it'll do away with
what
them all. Yeah.
well, yeah, of course, you're going to do away with human jobs that humans are doing at this moment in time, and you may achieve some levels of efficiency, but I don't know. I'm torn on AI. I think personally,
Yeah.
I'd rather we don't go there and stick to how things are in the way that things
Yeah,
are and the way the world is.
I don't think it will take over. Um, I, I don't think so. But there was a great book that was that was incredibly interesting that I'd read quite some time ago, which talked about, and I'm sure it was entitled Homo sapiens, and it talked about the evolution of the world and Mother Earth. The reason why we call Earth Mother Earth is because Mother Earth looks after itself. And if you look at what we as human beings, taking religion out of this purely, right, and relying exclusively on science, if you think about how the world has evolved, right, in itself, and that we only know so much about Earth and living on Earth. But Earth's been around for a very, 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 very long time. And at various points and various parts across the globe, it's changed, it's adapted, it's adopted. There's been extreme weather. People are complaining about the weather now. There was an ice age. It was like frozen over. It was a raging volcanic ash for periods of time. There was all of these things that Earth has experienced. It had dinosaurs, it's had, everything's evolved. And it feels like it's Earth doing its thing and saying, I'm sick of you guys now, right? You're destroying me. So I'm sick of you guys. And what do I need? Well, actually, the most sensible and the best thing would be AI or computers, wouldn't it? It would be because or it'll get to a stage where we become extinct and it goes back to basics. And because we become extinct, we're not polluting, we're not like sort of killing all of the creatures, we're not killing, but it has the potential for all life exist, to become extinct, doesn't it? Is like that's the trajectory. And that includes things like computers, because actually, could computers self-sustain themselves? Potentially, there is that potential. They'll create the energy, they'll create like what they need to create. And then do you get like rogue computers? Do you get like rogue robots? Is it the start of Star Wars? Because that would be really exciting. Um, anyway, I'm getting a bit carried away. But yeah, I take everything with a pinch of salt. And AI. So just if you look at the the fact that some of the biggest investments went into AI, and some of the biggest investors went into AI, and it hasn't done what anybody thought it was going to do, i.e., it's petered out. So a lot of those AI companies aren't worth what they were probably beginning of this year, like last year, because they thought they were going to do all of these things. And it's like anything. Technology comes, there's a real, big interest in it, and then it peters and then it stabilizes. There's a bell curve of adoption. So if it's coming on that side, it's the early adopters, and then it starts petering out and normalizing. Anyway, point of all of that is that we uh, probably won't see it unleashed. However, data centers, right? The amount of data that is being generated. Jeff, if you think about everything that you use now, have you got an Apple phone? Have you got an Apple Watch?
Nah, not into Apple Watches.
You know. So anyway, the amount of things that capture data, capture information, and it needs to be stored somewhere. We physically wouldn't have the space if these were all paper files.
Well, yeah, of course, and that's obviously one of the benefits of technology. Yeah.
So anyway, it's a big deal. It's going to create lots of jobs. Hopefully, this site in Bly, it felt as if it was a bit cursed, if the truth be known. There was British Vault, and then somebody else bought it, and then it was going to be the biggest and the best, sort of space place for batteries, and now they've agreed to make it into a data center. So that's good. And then we're developing lots of skills, Jeff, around the green and retrofit skills to drive net zero goals. What do you think about these net zero things?
I think it's a load of nonsense.
All right, great. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's lots of qualifications being offered, just so you know. So if you want to go and do that, 3.4 million homes in the northeast and Yorkshire will need retrofitting, and they're going to create 67,000 new jobs. I mean, I must admit, a lot of the properties. I mean, I'm sat in an old school building that really could do with insulation. I'm wasting so much energy, right? So it does need green skills, people to come along and sort the lighting, sort the insulation, sort the heating, and all of that. So that's a matter of fact. Regardless of what
I
it was
agree
driving.
with.
Yeah. Okay. Talking about inclusion. So it's National Inclusion Week is all about celebrating diversity, belonging, creating lasting change. This year's theme, Impact Matters, reminds us that measurable change is essential, especially in a time when diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts are facing cuts. The goal isn't just to talk about inclusion, it's about showing its real world impact on business and community growth. The business case for inclusion, diversity boosts performance 27%, attracting top talent. There's inclusion, innovation, decision making. ABC's mission is making inclusion the standard. So ABC's inclusion by default campaign aims to make the Northeast the most inclusive region in the UK by the end of 2025. And there's over 13,000 businesses supported, 6,000 jobs created. And we've done so much in this space, but there's still so much to do. And the ABC Awards happening in a few weeks' time. It's amazing. There's lots of great stuff. Amit took the lead on faith tours with the Entrepreneurs Forum. So that was great. Went to the Mandir, the mosque, and the Gurdwara. So anyway, there's a whole range of things. There's a huge survey where we've developed this inclusive innovation framework and all of these things. There's loads of great stuff going on, John. But anyway, coming on to the 10 things the best bosses have in common for SME success. What do you think these are, Jeff?
10
things the best bosses have in common for SME success.
I think being able to delegate, have a clear picture, good leadership skills. I think you would have to, well, as a boss, it's different. A boss is different to an entrepreneur, though, aren't they? Because you can have different type of bosses.
Yeah.
Organizational skills. But anyway, I think that's just a few. Maybe there might not be in your list.
Great examples. Yeah, I'll go through them. So the 10 things the best bosses have, and I'm interested, I'm intrigued by this, because you're absolutely right. Right? I think I'm a good, effective leader, right? But I certainly know I'm not very good anymore, although I used to be, at managing, because it's two different skills. So managers do the thing right. Leaders do the right thing. And there's a difference. So this term, best bosses, is a curious one. Because even that term, boss, you're going to boss me around. Even that is it almost has a negative. I'm surprised that you're allowed to, in this world that we live in, say things like that. And do you get, and is it gender neutral? Is it a bossess? Is it you do get female bosses? Is everyone not just they them now? Anyway, that's a different inclusive conversation. In the meantime, 10 things the best business owners or leaders or whatever you want to, founders is a good word. So you're right, Jeff. Excellent communication. So clear communication aligns everyone with the business goals. Leading by example. So great bosses demonstrate the behavior they expect from their team. Empowering employees, delegating tasks boosts productivity and creates a positive work environment. Adaptable leadership, flexibility in leadership helps manage crisis and growth. Building a strong culture, a supportive, inclusive workplace culture is essential for success. Recognizing talent, appreciation, whether formal or informal, keeps employees engaged and motivated. Boosting engagement, so engaged employees are more productive. Great leaders create growth opportunities. Being approachable, so an open door policy encourages feedback and unlocks valuable employee insights. Effective delegation, delegating tasks frees up time for strategic decisions while empowering employees. Focusing on growth, investing in employee development benefits both the business and the staff. So they're the 10 things, Jeff. What does that mean? What does that sort of translate into? So some of them I probably agree with, others not so. So this term, leading by example, right? So I regularly, and I don't have an issue sort of going into the kitchen area noticing a little bit of mess, picking it up, getting on my hands and knees, cleaning it, doing whatever it is. But actually, is that good use of my time? Should I be doing that? Absolutely not, is what I would argue.
Mm.
Am I uncomfortable with doing it? No, I'm not. But actually, if you have a team and everyone's operating effectively, then that team would, everyone should have a role and responsibility, shouldn't they?
Absolutely, and I think it it's such an important point, Omar. And if you get dragged, that's just a example. But if you get dragged into other areas of the work, which is somebody else's role and responsibility, then it's taking you away from your position, and who's going to then fill your position? And I think that creates a vacuum, and ultimately it filters down to the operation, and then it causes issues. So each person must be able to fulfill their roles effectively to give you the ability to be able to do your job.
And that's the critical point here. So I regularly talk to the wife and say, shall we not get someone to do this because it's taking up so much of your time and you're that busy and you're stressed and all of that. And it's like, no. And I'm like, well, yeah, time is the most precious thing. And making effective use of that time is absolutely critical. So you doing the right thing at the right time is incredibly important because if that allows you to do that, then others can go and do that, can't they?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, the interesting top tips, but boosting engaging. I think engagement. I think motivated. I think the other thing is because there's a number of changes coming in and in regards to well-being, and I welcome them. I think everyone should be cared for, considered, as long as it's not driving the wrong behaviors, right? So if it enforces an environment where someone's shift's 9 o'clock and they finish at 5 o'clock and they're getting in at 8:59 and they're putting their jacket on at 4:59, you cannot say anything to them, you know. But is that where's the work ethic in that?
Yeah.
It's part of the concern, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is
The regulations also, I don't think they help, because the work ethic, I think, is so different, and everyone's counting the minutes, the seconds. It just doesn't lead to a healthy environment, I think, in many ways.
yeah, I agree. Um, I think there is unquestionably an issue. Now, if anyone works in a toxic environment, an environment where they are absolutely not appreciated, or employers are taking advantage of them, getting them to work hundreds of hours extra, then that needs to be addressed.
Of course.
There's a balance there, but to encourage worklessness, right? So we've got some of the highest levels of inactively unemployed, so employmently, from an employment perspective, inactive, they're described. So these aren't unemployed people. They're either on, they have other responsibilities. It was a way of skewing the unemployment statistics. So to go, well, so the definition of unemployment is someone who doesn't have a job and they're actively looking for a job. So if you're not actively looking for a job, you're not unemployed.
Mm.
You are economically, right? So the term is you are economically inactive.
It's absolute bloody nonsense, man. Who is coming up with this madness?
Just so all of a sudden our employability statistics are, and obviously this is all politics, isn't it? It's
Mm.
like, look, we've sorted out unemployment, and it's like, no, you have. It's just the way you categorize it is now different. Is part of that issue and challenge is what it is. Anyway, I'm adjusting my camera because it was flashing there for some strange reason. Tired, Jeff? I'm really tired. Talk me through your week. What's keeping you awake at night?
Oh, many pressures of the business world, Amal. Lots going on, lots of challenges.
How's obviously there's some plans in the pipeline. When will you be able to
Yeah, we have
announce
a
them?
new project in the pipeline, and we're trying to get it, trying to get the builders kind of to get them towards completion, but they're always going to find setbacks. I think there's so many issues around the world, it actually affects the ability to be able to do your jobs, because from a construction perspective, it's a nightmare at the moment, Amar, because you've got so much disruption in different parts of the world, and the goods, you can't get the goods on time. No one can kind of agree to their delivery times, and there's so many issues with that regard, that they say, well, I'm sorry that we can't do anything about it. So then that just, I give you an example. You're trying to get some fancy taps from Morocco, UK-based company, and you need the plumbing part of those taps to be able to, for the plumbers to do their first fixes, so then you can finish off the plasterboard. The tilers, give the tilers the opportunity, and is ordered a long time ago, and then they get into some teething issues, and that just puts the whole job on hold. So examples like that, all down to because of the issues here and here. Also, the whole of Europe shuts down in August. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
If you're working in
that
a
is
factory,
crazy.
you just close the factory up for the whole month. You go on your second home, apparently, and then you go chill out, and then you come back after a month.
Crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy.
Imagine the knock-on effect after that month on
Yeah.
goods that need to go out, and it's incredible. So we're working on a very tight program as well. So I think the world has changed a lot. The costs have gone up so much, and when you begin to start working with professionals, even that professional network of interior design has changed incredibly in the last 5 years. The amount of
Oh,
specialists you have in so many different fields now. You have a lighting
yeah.
specialist, but then you have many different lighting systems, which is a different specialist. Within that, you've got architectural lighting specialists, and then you've got it's just a whole different world, and the amount of coordination that's involved just to get the lighting right. And then all of these specialists, they're all so expensive because they're specialists, so the fees are so high. The budget just gets blown out the water, but it's interesting, but the cost have moved on so much in the last 4 or 5 years. I think I personally feel it's gonna hold back a lot of construction. Even the new conference center that's supposed to be already up and running next to the glass house, I understand that it's delayed because of the delays. The budget has gone so much; it's put that whole construction in jeopardy, supposedly.
Yeah, it has. It has, and these costs and global. I mean, look, wars and all of that don't really help either, do they?
Well, it helps the people
And
that are selling the weapons, so they're happy.
yeah, of
But
course
the
it is.
rest of us,
And it's good for a number of economies, is what it is.
mm,
Sadly, um, but anyway, it's yeah. Um, Anyway, on a more positive note, I'm up for an award tonight, Jack. For
oh,
God's sake,
excellent.
Hilton. Yeah, is Taff around?
Um, he's coming up, but I'm not sure what time.
Hey,
Yeah, it
because it
might be.
would be nice if both of you came.
I'll ask the question. I'm not sure if he's
No, I'll ask him. Why would you ask
yeah.
him? Yeah, so that'll be
What is it, Emma? What's the nomination?
so Entrepreneur of the Year.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, of or Entrepreneur Champion of the Year, I think is what it is. So, but it's I mean the other three people are Charlie Holt's one of them.
Okay.
Um, so he's in that category. Now, obviously, he's got like Holt's Yard and has done so much. He's a really good guy. The other person is Steve Rawlinson. He's a really good guy.
What
Um,
does Steve have?
Steve's got Samuel Knight employment. You'll probably recognize him if you see him, when you see him even. And then Steve Pugh, he done an online program as well. So yeah, I'm excited. It's a big deal being a finalist at the Entrepreneurs Forum Award. So that in itself, and we've got a really good table of really nice people. So I'm glad we're coming together, even if it's to commiserate. Sometimes it's just a case of sort of coming along and
Well,
enjoying each other's company.
it's
So
always nice to win, but it's amazing to be nominated and be amongst it all.
yeah, I'll never. I think there was one time, and I'll never forget that, where I was a bit of a sore loser. About I don't know, 15 years ago, I'd gone to some award or something like that, and felt as if, and actually it was the other people that I was with. They'd like gone, oh my God, can't believe you didn't win, and all of this, and and then you realize actually it isn't about that. And over the years, I've I've probably I'm incredibly grateful, very humble. But I prefer seeing other people winning awards. So for the last few years, I've judged. So I judged the Entrepreneurs Forum Awards last year and the year before. It was that in itself is a big honor. I've judged the Law Awards. I judged the Northern Powerhouse Awards. So judging is good fun. It's hard. It's really hard.
You were
And
judging.
I would have hated to be the judge in the category that I'm in. I would have felt really uncomfortable about that. I think.
You were judging Miss Newcastle as well.
Yeah, you were involved in that. That was, well, I didn't complain then. That's the thing. Neither did you. But anyway, I don't know if do they have such a thing? Is it politically correct? Can you have beauty pageants and appreciate somebody's looks anymore without sort of being deemed
Well,
whatever?
have you seen some of the winners though, Omar? It's absolutely pretty ridiculous, man. In America and stuff, Miss America is like some kind of fat bloke. I mean, it's bloody
Some
outrageous.
kind of what?
It's
Some
some
kind of
fat bloke, man. He's like Miss America now. He's got like a big beard and that, walking around with his
yeah.
bikini on, and like, yeah, that looks like fantastic. Oh, sorry, not that person. Like, not. I wasn't saying like that. I was just saying that person looks fantastic. Some of the
Yeah.
judges,
Well, it's all changed. We live in a different place. It's all about inclusion. It's all about
think
people
it's all
fitting in.
a whole lot of nonsense, man. That's what I say to it all.
Hmm. It is. Well, it's sad. Um, uh, it is what it is. But anyway, I'm grateful. It's got nothing to do with. I certainly wouldn't be winning on looks. It's certainly not a beauty pageant. So, but I'm looking forward to that. And then tomorrow, big game tomorrow, Jeff, at the Man
Yeah,
City.
it's a huge game. But we always play well against City, but we always kind of lose. But we did beat them last year in the Carabao Cup, so hopefully I think we're going to win tomorrow. You know, man.
Yeah, well, I hope so because I'm sponsoring the match.
Oh,
Um,
amazing!
Yeah, yeah. So I'll see you because I'll be there around where you are.
Oh,
Um,
are you really? Oh, amazing!
yeah.
Which street?
Heroes, I think you're going to.
All right, cool.
So, where are you?
Four corners.
Four Corners,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I'll see it in and around the atrium, maybe.
Well, but where are you sat in the Melbourne?
Um, I'm sat just behind Eddie Howe.
Behind?
Behind Eddie Howe.
All right. So we're down there at the bottom as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we'll see you there. So yeah, Newcastle United. There's once again a big group of us, so it'll be interesting because this evening, naturally, I'll need to disappear at a reasonable time, and I'll probably run away as soon as I don't win. Is what I'll do. Not quite. I'm just ever so grateful. They're a great event. I like going to them. I like seeing
Oh,
everybody
they're
else.
amazing. They're amazing.
I love
Brilliant.
seeing everybody else. There's some wonderful entrepreneurs.
Oh, that's
So
brilliant.
I'm super excited for that. And then we've got to be there at 9:15 tomorrow because you meet everyone, you do all of that. So early start
Very
tomorrow,
early
Jeff.
start. Very early start.
Yeah, so anyway, you've
Cool.
been listening to Amar
Jaff.
and next week we've got I think Mark's on the show next week. I always enjoy having Mark on the show, Jeff. So that'll be exciting. Our friend Mark Patton talking about education and skills and all of those things. And we'll also be touching again around. We're going to start getting some of our finalists for the awards, Jeff, on. But
Yeah.
until next week, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.